Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our live tarot session today, November 15th, 2024. It's a beautiful full moon day. Take a minute and bask in it. Thank you guys for joining me. Let's give a shout out to everyone here in our chat. It's great to see you exit. Much love, Valerie. Good to see you, Marissa. Christy, much love. Holler Haint, much love. Leslie, good to see you. Nikosmas, much love. Gandhi, great to see you. D-Love, much love. Pamela, good to see you. Valerie, Daphne, great to see you. Beatnik, much love. All right. Amazing. Thank you guys for joining me. Let's take a minute and talk about our astrology. We are in the full moon in Taurus. Beautiful, grounded, earthy energy. Do you feel it? It's that profound energy of connecting into the body, of connecting to the physical pleasures, of being in the family, of being in that long-term committed thinking. Taurus is that slow, grounded, but beautiful, hard-working energy. Now is a time when we can really connect to our physical self. We can be in connection with our family. We can really be in that loving moment. So slow down. Take that time out. Connect to those closest to you. And just bask in it. It's that beautiful, profound energy. Let's take a minute and talk about the title. Analyze, then recombine through co-creation. When I chose this, I drew the art card. The art card. And the art card is such beautiful energy. It is the consummation of the lovers. It is the coming together of multiple forms for that process of reconfiguration, recombining, and creation. It's when two, through that power of reflection, of analysis, of physical love, are able to create something of themselves, something greater, something expansive, right? But art is so much greater than just physical creation in children. It is about all of creation, and it's about the self, seeing the self reflected in the other, and refining the self through that mirror, right? Learning to see outside of oneself and to recognize another's beauty, another's independence, another's worth, another's will, right? And move and flow together. Beautiful, powerful, loving energy, that art. Now is a time when we want to connect. We want to be in that co-creation. We want to come together in communal harmony, and we want to reflect each other, and through that reflection refine each other, push each other to greater heights, ever striving for beauty. Love it. All right, we're now going to go to our Ganapati oracle. Ganesha Ganapati is the divine child, the Lord of beginnings, the guardian of the threshold, and the master of the Ganas, the spirits. And we ask them to send us a message through the oracle. Ganapati, what is the message this evening? And ensure our words are heard by those who need to hear them. All right. Surrender. Surrender. Wow. What beautiful and interesting energy, surrender. Surrendering is that energy of learning to embrace where you are, not to resist that flow of the universe, but to simply accept. It is to let go of the ego and one's ability to control, right? Surrender is that moment of sleep. Profound, beautiful energy. And it's about learning to accept. It's about learning to be in that flow. It's about learning to know when to let go, when to go to sleep, when to trust in the universe and just be. Wow. Interesting. All right. We're now going to go to our sortes. The sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is divination through literature, and it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition. And we invoke the goddesses of inspiration, the divine muses, and we ask them to inspire us through the text. Today we are going to begin with Magia by Alan Chapman. Muses, what is the message from Alan Chapman? Inspire us this evening. And from the honey that is made, each one is apportioned their share in the sweetness of their labor. Beautiful on so many levels. I immediately get that image of Artemis at Ephesus, the queen bee herself. And from the honey that is made, each one is apportioned their share in the sweetness of their labor. The sweetness of their labor. You work and your reward is that honey. It is that amrit, right? Beautiful. Love it. Let's continue. We are now going to go to Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass. Muses, what is the message from Carroll? Inspire us this evening. You don't know what you're talking about, cried Humpty Dumpty. How many days are there in a year? 365, said Alice. And how many birthdays have you? 1. And if you take 1 from 365, what remains? 364, of course. Humpty Dumpty looked doubtful. I'd rather see that done on paper, he said. Alice couldn't help smiling as she took out her memorandum book and worked out the sum for him. Humpty Dumpty took the book and looked at it carefully. That seems to be done right. You're holding it upside down, Alice interrupted. Wow. That impossible task of teaching someone who is not in the right state of mind. Teaching them something they're not ready to learn. Speaking above them. Interesting. You know, Lewis Carroll's work I consider to be an instruction manual into the mysteries. There's a lot to be gained there. Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lao Tzu? The Tao when brightest seen seems to lack. Who progress in it makes seems drawing back. Its even way is like a rugged track. Wow. I've pulled this one before, but it's such a just such a beautiful line. The Tao, when brightest seen, seems light to lack. It is darkness that the way is most clear. When we are under that pressure, right? Who progress in it seems drawing back. To make a progress, it seems like you're going nowhere. Its even way is like a rugged track. The middle path is not the straight road. It is the rugged and winding road, right? It is the rugged and winding road. It is even through that faculty of reason. Interesting. Let's continue. We're going to go now to Women Who Run with Wolves. Myths and Stories of the Wild Woman Archetype by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Muses, what is the message from Christina Pinkola Estes? Inspire us. Today, near evening time, I did lead the girl who has no seeing a little way into the forest where it was darkness and shadows were. I led her toward a shadow that was coming our way. It did touch her cheeks with its velvety fingers. And now she too does have likings for shadows. And her fear that was is gone. Wow. This is so beautiful. And to me, this summarizes the entire Luciferian kind of magic, the mindset. It's about shining your light into that darkness and recognizing the shadows for what they are, something different. And maybe they aren't as scary or as frightening as you thought. Today, near evening time, I did lead the girl who has no seeing a little way into the forest where it was darkness and shadows were. I led her toward a shadow that was coming our way. It did touch her cheek with its velvety fingers, and now she too does have liking for shadows, and her fear that was is gone, right? Fears exist in the place of misunderstanding. They exist when we don't know. And so our mind runs amok and is left to its imagination. But if we shine a light and see things for what they are, we can face them. We can understand it. We can learn to move forward against it if necessary. Interesting. All right. We're now going to go to The Telltale Heart and Other Writings, Edgar Allan Poe. Muses, what is the message from Edgar Allan Poe? Inspire us this evening. The second attempt met with even worse success, for he remained so long underwater without giving the signal that, becoming alarmed for his safety, we drew him out without it, and found that he was almost at his last gasp, having, as he said, repeatedly jerked at the rope without our feeling it. Wow, isn't that scary? Making a second attempt, going and diving, trusting in others to provide you with that rope out, running out of breath, and almost losing it in the last second, but being pulled out. Interesting. The second attempt met with even worse success. Worse success. For he remained so long underwater without giving the signal that, becoming alarmed for his safety, we drew him out without it, and found that he was almost at his last gasp, having, as he said, repeatedly jerked at the rope without our feeling it. Interesting. We run that risk, right, of going too deep into the depths, of going too deep into that abyss, right? We have that people to take us out and to ground us back into reality. Again, I imagine the story of Odysseus upon the mast, right? That story only works because Odysseus has a crew who take wax given to them by Circe and plug their ears so that they do not hear the siren song. And for that reason, Odysseus is able to climb the mast, strap himself, and hear and gaze upon the sirens, right? While the rest of his men do the work. But there is always a risk when you gaze into that darkness, right? Sometimes there are monsters there, you know? And just because it's a monster doesn't mean it's something to be afraid of. It just needs to be understood. But if you gaze too deep and too long into that abyss, you can lose yourself. You lose that connection to the other side, right? Interesting. All right, let's continue. We're going to go to now The Divine Comedy by Dante. Muses, what is the message from Dante? Inspire us. What can be done then in recompense? If you thought to make good use of what you once consecrated, you would be doing good with stolen evil. What can be done then in recompense? If you thought to make good use of what you once consecrated, you would be doing good with stolen evil. And this is why these silly things of evil and good get so ridiculous. The universe continues in this cycle, right? Everything is new in each new moment, right? Goodness is defined in its present only and how something is, right? We can reflect upon the past to a certain degree and we can hold people especially to account, but things, like it gets so silly. We have to be able to use our reason. We have to be able to see things clearly, or at least attempt to. Interesting. Let's continue. We're going to go now to Byron. Selected poetry and letters. Muses, what is the message from Lord Byron? Inspire us this evening. Don Jose and his lady quarreled. Why? Not any of the many could divine. Though several thousand people chose to try, 'twas surely no concern of theirs, no mine. I loathe that low voice, that low vice, curiosity. But if there's anything in which I shine, 'tis in arranging all my friends' affairs, not having of my own domestic cares. Now, this is interesting. Curiosity, right? Curiosity is that beautiful ability to shine a light into the darkness, to be able to face the fears and to transform the unknown into the tangible, to reward oneself with knowledge, to be able to gain understanding through that perception. But that curiosity brings danger. As we saw, you can lose yourself in the abyss. And maybe your friends, your community can't bring you back. Or we see here, one's curiosity can lead them into pettiness and silliness, to be lost in the mundane, in the trivial, right? This person has all their time. They don't have anything to worry about, and they spend all of their time worrying about their friends, right? Doing the gossip for them, doing the drama for them. And it's just so wild, right? Shouldn't you be focusing on yourself, on your own life, on your own path? Why are we busy worrying and judging others? Interesting. Let's continue. Okay, we're going to go now to Paradise Lost and Paradise Regained by Milton. Muses, what is the message from Milton? Inspire us. So having said a while, he stood expecting their universal shout and high applause to fill his ear. When contrary, he hears on all sides from innumerable tongues a dismal, universal hiss, the sound of public scorn. Wow. Can you be so out of touch with reality, with the people around you, that when you expect to be received with love, you're scorned? So having said a while, he stood expecting their universal shout and high applause to fill his ear. When contrary, he hears on all sides from innumerable tongues a dismal, universal hiss, the sound of public scorn. Some people's greatest fear is that public scorn, that communal retribution, you know? The interesting thing, that kind of energy, to draw that kind of attention, to be seen in that way. This seems to be an ongoing theme, is that power of perception, of curiosity, and where it is focused. What if you become the center of public scorn? What then? Interesting. Lorca, 3 tragedies. Muses, what is the message from Federico Garcia Lorca? I shall say to you, child, yes. For you I'll torn and broken be. How painful is this belly now, where first you shall be cradled. When, child, when will you come to me? Wow. Beautiful mother energy. I shall say to you, child, yes. For you I'll torn and broken be. How painful is this belly now, where first you shall be cradled. When, child, when will you come to me? Wow. Profound imagery, right? That calling into life, that moment of just before birth. Beautiful. Let's continue. We are now going to go to The Magician's Land by Lev Grossman. Muses, what is the message from Lev Grossman? Inspire us. It's the end. She sat down on the crown of a hill, and the Chankly bore and hugged her knees. Wow. It's the end. And so we just saw the beginning, that birth, that moment just before birth, where the mother is calling to the child in her womb. And now we're seeing the moment just before death, where that person is returning to the fetal position in fear, waiting for the darkness to overtake them. Wow. Let's continue. A Sinister Assassin by Antonin Artaud. Muses, what is the message from Artaud? Inspire us this evening. The body is the body. It's alone and has no need of organs. The body never is an organism. Organisms are the enemies of the body. Whatever things are created then go on all alone without the intervention of any organ. Every organ is a parasite. It covers up a parasitic mission, intended to enable the birth of a being which should never have existed there. Organs have only ever been made in order to give beings something to eat, while beings have been condemned in their very conception and have no reason to exist in the first place. Reality itself has not yet come into existence because the true organ of the human body have still not yet been created nor positioned into place. The theater of cruelty was created in order to complete that putting into place and to accomplish through a new dance of the human body, a crushing of this world of microbes, which is nothing but a coagulated abyss. The theater of cruelty is intended to make eyelids dance in intimacy with elbows, with kneecaps, with femurs, and with toes. And you are now going to see all of it. Wow. That was wild. The organs are nothing more than parasitic beings feasting in hunger to stay alive. Intense. And the body is somehow transcendent from the organism. Gotta love Artaud. Let us continue. Brave New World, Aldous Huxley. Muses, what is the message from Huxley? Inspire us. O brave new world! By some malice of his memory, the savage found himself repeating Miranda's words. O brave new world that has such people in it. O brave new world that has such people in it. Are you brave or new when the people are the same? And again, anytime I'm confronted with the image of the savage in Brave New World, you're reminded of who the savage is. It is not the one who is called by that name. There's something about the calling of a name and the name calling, right? There's a power there. And when you see people being called the most horrible, horrible names, you have to ask yourself, why? What are they trying to hide? What are they trying to obscure? Let us continue. The Bell Jar, Sylvia Plath. Muses, what is the Message from Sylvia Plath. Inspire us. That was a mistake, she said then. It's not supposed to be like that. I stared at her. If it's done properly, Dr. Nolan said, it's like going to sleep. If anyone does that to me again, I'll kill myself. Dr. Nolan said firmly, you won't have any shock treatments here. Wow. This is interesting because Antonin Artaud underwent the shock treatment. And it is in the shock treatment that he had his death and rebirth, where he was reborn as Artaud the Momo and embraced magic. And this is interesting. That was a mistake, she said. It's not supposed to be like that. Death is never what we intend, especially those moments, you know, people in desperation are looking for anything, for freedom, for release. And so they seek escape. But it's not supposed to be like it is. I stared at her. If it's done properly, Dr. Nolan said, it's like going to sleep. If anyone does that to me again, I'll kill myself. If it's done properly, it's like going to sleep. Is death like going to sleep? Interesting. All right. Let's continue. We're going to go now to L'Autrement, Malidor, and Other Poems. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from L'Autrement? But who can it be? But who is it who dares like a conspirator to trail the rings of his body towards my black breast? Whoever you are, eccentric python, by what pretext do you excuse your ridiculous presence? This is interesting. This is beautiful. But who can it be? But who is it who dares like a conspirator to trail the rings of his body towards my black breast? We see this constantly with the possession of madness, when the goddess mania infects people, when the furies infect people. I'm immediately reminded of Alecto throwing her snakes, driving the women mad. And as the snake coils round the body and then attaches itself to the breast, causing the mind to go mad. Wow. Whoever you are, eccentric python, by what pretext do you excuse your ridiculous presence? Your ridiculous presence, the python. What is that unwanted masculine energy doing in my presence? That ridiculous worm. Interesting. All right. We're now going to go to the tarot proper. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. And if you are at all interested in a private reading, you can reach out, snappydts@gmail.com, or you can find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. Today we're going to be using the Liber Mundi Tarot of M.M. Moline. And we'll be invoking the energy of Saturn and asking them to dissect our life, to cut it up and expose it upon the plate, to show us our interconnections. And we ask, how can we rise above the conflicts? How we can best move and flow? And how we can manifest our true wills? And what is the greater message for the community? And as always, our center card is going to be our most important card. All right, here we go. And today's center is Five of Discs, worry. Oh man, I'm immediately thinking of one of my favorite reggae songs, Money Worries. Don't you feel it? Don't we all feel it? That inability to reach that summit of the success, that moment before the success when we are insecure. We may have that foundation of the family, of loved ones who care, but we are unable to expand beyond that base. And there is a terror here that what we have built will be taken, will fall over, will be crushed. And even that foundation which we rely upon may be lost. And therein lies the worry, right? That interim between ledges. The sixth, the middle path, that success is like standing upon a secure foundation. We've moved beyond the foundation of the four, but we are unable to rest upon the foundation of success. Interesting. Let's continue. Maybe these worries are for naught, because I see a massive uplift. We go from the 5 to the 9, where the 5 is that instability, that worry, that trying to expand beyond the 4, that power foundation, and achieve the 6 success. The 9 is the gain, exponential growth. It is the tower at its most powerful, before the beginning of a new cycle, at its apex, when the magic is strongest in that generation, right? The bees continue to produce honey. It's a sustaining system. Let's continue. Wow. How do we get to that gain? What we're seeing here is that the essence of all of this, the worry and the gain, it's about returning to our roots, going back to that clear image of what we are trying to build and fixating upon that. Who we see in the center here, we see that divine child to come, Harpocrates, reborn. That divine image in the womb, in the cosmic egg, waiting for that right moment to be born, to transcend, you know? This is all about creating and imagining and working out, where does this gain take us? What are we building? It's about creating a clear path and a clear image, and about returning to the root of that image, to the core of what that image is about. Let's continue. The devil. The devil gives you what you want. The devil also tempts in many ways, right? The devil is that profound, powerful energy of Capricorn, the ability to ascend the mountain, to walk the middle way, to walk through the eye of the needle. But the question is, do you have the strength? Do you have the wisdom? Do you have the reason to walk the way? If we are faced with the truth, what are you going to do about it? When we see the devil card, what I'm seeing here, that worry can be overcome through one's own action. It's about having the strength to persist and to go through, to ascend that mountain, to have that ambition. Interesting. Connected to that devil is the energy of science, pure reason, the 6, the perfected middle way. Beautiful, the swords in pure balance of perspective, where we can see the cosmos. What we're seeing here is that this is the energy in which we approach that Lucifer with reason. And you ask for what is reasoned. Use your wisdom. If you do not go in with greed, if you go with love and with understanding, with that desire for wisdom, Lucifer will shine that light, and that devil will lead you up the mountain and through the eye of the needle, through the gates of triumph. Beautiful. Wow. See where this is going. And what is the result if one can walk that path of reason and utilize that power? The result is satiety, community, coming together in reciprocal loving harmony and flow, completion of the cycle, completing that tower in the emotional suit of the waters, of the cups. Beautiful energy. Wow. And at the bottom of our square, connected to the 5 of discs and to our devil card, we have the 10, the completion, the wealth, Plutus on the earth, the tower built and manifested. The key to manifesting it is to have the ambition to go for it, to have the strength to rise the mountain, to strive. Recognize that the devil is that energy of striving, of going for what you want. When that devil energy destroys people, it's because they wanted bad things. It's because they wanted egoic things, right? This is about learning to walk the true will, to overcome that worry, to surrender, as we saw with that Ganesha, surrender to fate. And when we can surrender to fate and move with that confidence, that's when we manifest the tower. When we utilize that strength of reason and we move without harm, without need for gain, that's when we can ascend that tower. When we can manifest that satiety, we can complete the cycle. Right. Who builds the tower? The Queen of Discs. And this is what we are transforming into. This is the energy that we must manifest, that Queen of Capricorn. Who better to ascend the mountain than the Queen of the mountain herself, the one who wears the horns? Beautiful. Beautiful energy, right? And that Capricorn energy is that strength to build. And not just build, but to inspire action and to do the work. The Queen of Discs is that energy of manifesting in the earth, of working through kinship to build something and to ensure that it is constructed. It's hard energy because it pushes all around her, but it is that energy of manifesting. It's that manager, you know? And we want this energy. This energy is needed. It serves a deep purpose. Because without that hard work, without that organization, no tower can be built. No tower can be built. Let's continue. And this will complete the cycle of our manifestation. We will find our desire and what we are needing to build. It's about directing. It's about finding one's purpose and putting it into the earth and putting it into the action. By taking on that role of the Queen of Discs and building the tower, we are fulfilling ourselves, right? We are finding our purpose. We are manifesting. We are doing something tangible and beautiful. Let's continue. Now I'm going to flip so you guys can see the full spread. But before I do, please, once again, give me a like and a subscribe. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, reach out, Snappy, ddts@gmail.com. All right, here. And we start here. And look, when you combine that strength of reason with the one who can organize and do the hard work, that's when you manifest gain. That's when the tower reaches its apex, when the magic is at its most profound. This is just realistic, right? Balancing things, seeing things from that communal understanding, taking in all of the multiple perspectives and balancing them out to find that clear path to walk, that middle way, right? And having the strength to do it, to walk the walk and get things done, and to ensure that others are on the path with you and they're walking in the right way. When you combine these two energies, we manifest that tower at its apex, at its height. Profound. That 5 of discs, the worry. The key to overcoming the worry is to embody that ambitious energy and to manifest your way out of it. You know, this wealth is not just about material. It's not about that physical capitalistic greed. No. If you ask the devil for that kind of wealth, you will destroy yourself. No. This is wealth in the Plutus sense. Security, love, strength, providence, long-lasting, within the earth, tangible and real. Okay? Far greater than money, right? Something that manifests money. Money does intersect into wealth often, but wealth is something that is beyond monetary value in its truest sense. Let's continue. That Ace of Discs. The key here is about recognizing your purpose. You know, it's about seeing what needs to be built and constructed. What is this tower that we are building? What is this gain and this wealth? What are we manifesting, right? When we can envision that transformation, that child to come, that project, when we can truly start to envision it, that's our purpose. Drawing down the star, drawing it into physicality, imagining it and giving it form. And that results in that community, reciprocal love. Because this will provide, that tower will provide for this communal. But it begins with that inspiration. It begins with that recognition of one's purpose, right? In the building. Okay, let's continue. We're now going to do our crosses. So we'll start here. This is very clear. The Queen of Discs. You overcome worry of that material worry when you embody that hardworking manager, the one who crosses their T's and dots their I's, that does their accounting, that does the freaking minutia, you know, the hard bullshit that no one wants to do, the stuff that's not fun. She gets it done, though. She gets it done. And she ensures that the systems are in place to make it always get done so that no one has to worry about it, right? It's about putting those systems in place. And that manifests that community, that system that'll function, that'll support each other in loving flow. You got to build that, right? And it's that feminine energy of the queen that connects in that kinship building. Even though this is a manager, this is still that loving energy working through that communal way, working to uplift others, to transform those around her, to manifest through others, right? Beautiful. Our next cross. Recognizing your desire, putting it into word, into image, drawing it, completing the image in your mind's eye, really embracing that desire, and then using the strength of wisdom to see it come to fruition, using that clear understanding, and recognize again, right, that the science, the reason, can only exist in community. It can only exist when we expand our perspective through listening and learning from others, from reading, from taking into account the consensus, right? And it is through that consensus that we can gain greater understanding. We still balance it with our own individuality and our own individual reason, but That science, that greater understanding comes from the community. It comes when we work and share, when we are willing to expand our perspectives and to recognize our own limitation, the limitation of the individual and the power of community, right? And that wisdom is what will give you the ability to draw this image, to draw your desire, to bring it into that fiery, passionate form. And it is that form that will get over the worry, right? You need to have a tower to build. We need to have a completed image. We got to imagine what this child will be and strive for it. Even if you don't, it's not going to turn out the way you imagined. It never does. That's beside the point. The point is to do the art, and the art begins with that imaginative process, begins with the priestess, and then you embody that image of the magician, and you call it down into earth through action. All right, everyone. This is a beautiful rating, right? We overcome that worry, those fears of being able to build by becoming the true strong builder, by embracing that powerful queen of discs energy, the one who gets things done, who does the work, by embracing that science, that reason, that communal understanding, that consensus, right? By utilizing that power of ambition, by striving for something greater and working towards it, embracing that desire, and having the strength to ask for what is righteous and staying true to that righteous image. Drawing what we desire, giving it form, producing that image in its totality, seeing where the tower goes, what it looks like, what our goals are, what we could be if we were to manifest today. And all of that will result in that emotional satiety, that community, that reciprocal loving flow, that support. It results in that expansive, transformative gain that manifests in the earth, that continues to expand exponentially upon itself, that creates that wealth, that transcendent abundance, security in the earth beyond monetary value. That's the reading, everyone. Embody the queen. Imagine what this tower will be. Practice reason and embrace ambition. Beautiful. All right. I hope that resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. We're going to do one more sortes, and then we're going to call it. For our final sortes, Don Juan in Hell by Bernard Shaw. Muses, what is the message from Bernard Shaw? Inspire us this evening. Not a personal or friendly relation. What relation is more personal, more sacred, more holy? Sacred and holy if you like, Anna, but not personally friendly. Your relation to God is sacred and holy. Dare you call it personally friendly? Interesting. Dare you call it personally friendly? There is that eros of distance. You know, when you're dealing with deity, you are separated. There is that inability to connect directly. You are mediated through the powers of the daimones because of our physical reality. And so there is always that separation. But that doesn't mean there can't be that deep, loving connection. It's complicated. All right, everyone. Peace and love. It's great talking with you, and I hope I see you again tomorrow. Oh, It's the full moon. Go out under the stars. Say a nice, beautiful prayer to our great mother, Selene, to Aphrodite, and bask in the glow. Reflect on the self and know thyself. That is the greatest maxim of all. All right. Take care, my friends. Peace.